oh, I'll do whatever, right? But it's like once like things turn on you and
Yeah.
you're walking over a broken glass and it just hurts and there's
Yeah.
no forward progress. Like
So
that's hard.
Dan and I were just chatting and we opted to hit record because I think this is valuable. So whether this is a podcast, whether this is just a clip for Instagram, I'm not sure, but we were just chatting about how it will feel one day when things start to go on the decline, right? We're both in our 30s. We still have upward trajectory. Both of us have been doing this most of our lives. Bodybuilding is a big part of who we are, an identity for us, so to speak, and that eventually that might turn around and start going backwards and what that might feel like. And I think that's heavy.
It's very heavy.
Yeah.
We talked about it previously, but we wrap so much of our identity into being bodybuilders and the way that we look and the fact that we're progressing and for efforts to turn in the other direction or
Yeah.
not the effort's still high, but the output to turn in the other direction,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Do you think you'll have like, because obviously there's part of this whole thing that's like the process and the journey, and then there's the other side of it that's like the return you get, whether that's like physique, whether that's strength, whether that's a placing on stage, whatever it may be. Do you think there'll be like still peace in you that you could still do the stuff that you enjoy and that bring you that day-to-day routine and consistency and intrinsic value, the process, as people will call it, that you can still do that even if it's not, even if you don't see return, or at minimum, like fighting the decline.
I think so. I mean, for me, the last we talked about it year and a half or not a year and a half, about a little over a year for me has almost been that.
Yeah.
And like my routine and structure, it yields me for me a lot more than just the bodybuilding side of things. I mean, um, but like mentally it's tough and yeah, I think about how like when I'm older and things legit start to turn, how that's going to
Yeah.
affect me mentally. Uh,
Do you
yeah.
think how do I word this? Because I think we've all had periods when training wasn't going well, whether that's illness or injury or medical or schedule, whatever the case may be. Do you think there's anything that you can do that will like keep you in a good headspace when that happens? Or is it just like gonna have to be like a swallow the pill and accept like this is just part of it. This is part of life. Like
I have a feeling it's gonna,
eventually,
yeah, I have a feeling like it's gonna be, some degree of acceptance. Because like with injuries, with all these things, like even my stuff now, it's like I still don't know whether I can get it sorted out, but like there's still like the potential that I could get it sorted out. But like when you get to a certain age, it's like you can't reverse the clock, right? Like you're fighting the clock now, like you're fighting your age now, right? Rather than just
yeah.
fighting, a call it a temporary set of circumstances. So I think inevitably, and like I think that's why like a lot of guys in the sport like retire and then come back and then street. I think there's just a lot of mental struggle there with like making that transition.
Why do you think, because I think like a lot of people are going to resonate with this, like why do you think we as bodybuilders get so like tied into it where it is like an identity thing, right? I'm sure this is echoing in other sports, but obviously I can only speak to the realm that I'm in. But like why do you think we get like so invested where it does kind of like engulf a lot of our lives and who we are? Do you think it's like this
I
turned
mean,
a therapy session?
I could speak for myself. I mean, bodybuilding is an avenue in which you can directly put an effort and directly see the result. It's like it's a pretty reliable, I put this effort in and I get an outcome.
Right.
Versus other things where you might not see the return or I might going anywhere. It's something where like if I control this and I control this, then things will head in XYZ direction. Um, so I think it provides that sense of control and
Like purpose.
yeah, sense that your efforts are doing something, like you're doing something with your life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, like that's, to an outsider, that might sound like so weird that you're saying that my competitive bodybuilding that doesn't pay me anything, that doesn't give me much else, gives me purpose in life. You know what I mean? But I think we all kind of feel that where it is that day to day, like, not every day is perfect and we all have different systems we employ and different processes we go through, but like we all kind of every day are like assuming we're taking steps forward to something better than it was prior, right?
Yeah.
This is weird, man. This is some
And
weird shit.
it's like, we're all seeking like, meaning and purpose and um that's like I'll say like an easy way to get that. Not easy like physically, but like
It is like
this
right there in your hand.
uh, it's simple but hard. I guess it's hard but it's simple. Like
Yes.
I mean
Yes.
there's obviously nuances to it, but like it's hard but it's simple, right? Like in a world we live in where like so much of us are struggling to find meaning in life and relationships and things. It's like
I have this thing that
I
is
have
all
this, I
mine.
eat my meals, I get my sleep, I do my training, and things will progress in a positive direction
Hmm.
versus a lot of other things in life that are way more turbulent and gray and
Yeah. Why do you think some people, especially like I find the younger demographic that's like getting into it, they, if it's not now, then what's the point? You know what I mean? If I'm not huge tomorrow, if I'm not benching 3 plates tomorrow, if I'm not winning the show tomorrow or this season or this year, right? Like, what's the point then? Like, what do you tell that person when they're like, Dan, look, like, I get that you've been doing this for 15 years, but like, I don't get it. Do
I
you think
mean,
that's like a mindset thing?
I think yeah, I think some of that's a mindset thing and just understanding that good things can take time. Um, and diligent effort will yield results, but it will take time. It's not going to be tomorrow, but it might be a year from now, it might be 5 years from now. But yeah, I think yeah, it just takes time.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things like it takes. I've seen the reels lately, like um, the cons of bodybuilding. It takes time, and then
The time
pros
passes.
time passes anyways.
Yeah. It's a
So
very like good way to look at it because it's
it
true,
is.
right? Like if you have any
Yeah,
inkling of like you kind of like this stuff, like just start doing because you're gonna that week, that month, that year, that decade, they are gonna pass. So if you think this might be something you want to see potentially give you some fruit of your labor, then just do, right?
yeah.
What do you It's kind of a side note now because I don't think we hit record when we were talking about this, but like we kind of touched on just you and I about like maybe seeing like where your top of the mountain is
Yeah.
and doing this long enough that your trajectory of placings, accomplishments, accolades, whatever, you can kind of start maybe seeing it through the clouds. Whereas years ago, we were at the bottom of the mountain and we were like, oh, yeah, I can see that. I could top five. I could top three. I could win. I could win an overall. Shit, maybe I could turn pro. And now, maybe we're starting to see like, okay, maybe that might be the top end. What does that feel like?
It's tough. It's like, um, you look back and you're like, well, was that the peak of my life? Like you think about like people that like quote unquote peaked in high school and like,
Sure.
you could tell like they struggle with where they're at now because they look back and they feel like a shell of themselves. But like,
Yeah.
in bodybuilding that happens later, but like to some degree we're all gonna have some sort of peak, right? When that is for us. It's hard to say, but yeah, when you have so much of your identity wrapped into this, it's tough to, to look back. Like I look back at 2024 and I'm like, that might have been the peak for me. I don't
Sure.
know. But yeah,
Do you, because you touched on like coming out of that season and kind of being like, and then you've had the health stuff kind of come up, but like
yeah,
similar to me in 2022 when you hit that target and it meant so much and you put so much time, like years of work and like visualizing and like so much energy. Like you want to talk about putting energy into something, like putting energy into achieving the thing. Then
yeah,
you do it and then you're like, you kind of poke your head up and you're like, whoa, like where do I go? Because like I felt, man, like I felt so lost after 2022. Like not only like within the sport, but just kind of internally. I was just like, because I put so
yeah,
much effort into that, right? Like by 2022, I'd been competing 7 years, been training consistently for like at least a decade or if not a bit more by then. And kind of when you mentioned like that peak, right? You're like, well, frig, like what do I do? Where do I go? And it was a weird feeling. It was very like kind of sad,
yeah. Um, for me, it didn't hit quite as quickly. I'm pretty good at being, relishing the moments and not having it like the next day being like, okay, what's next?
right?
Um, for me, it was like it was a little bit of a like, oh, what's next sort of thing, but um, like we had talked about before, like previous off seasons, I had made big progress, so I was like, well, I don't know what my next goal is, but like I have a feeling I can make good progress.
Right.
It wasn't until like I started experiencing the health stuff that I'm concerned that is rate limiting me. That I'm like, wow, I might be if I'm rate limited now, like yeah, now like looking back, like it was like maybe a year after Ontario where I'm like, wow, that might have been like
Peak Dan.
it, it.
Right.
Which, like, I mean, in all serious, like, when it comes down to it, like, that was phenomenal. Like that day, I mean, that day was in that what I feel like or what I did achieve and the stage that I did it on, and like, it couldn't have been any better than it
Yeah.
was. It's like if that is the peak, then that is, but it's still like,
The damn good one.
even if for me it's if it was if that's my peak, but I can be physically better even if I don't achieve that same high.
Right.
It's a little different. So it's hard for me to
Yep.
completely unravel that. Like I'm like, okay, that might be the highest high I get, but I still am better. It's just not as internally high.
Yep.
That would be probably more fine with me, but it's still yeah. Um, if that makes sense.
No, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, because you might not replicate that feeling,
Yeah,
right? But you can still pluck away at the thing, right? Like,
yeah,
when I think back at, 2022 to where I turned pro, very similar, right? It was a stage, I competed at in 2019, went back all those years later, right? And got what I wanted, and then even in 2025, right, to do that big show here in Toronto with everybody there, like that was a high for sure. That you know I'll never experience that for the first time again, right? Like I'll never
yeah,
meet Cliff for the first time, have him at the show for the first time, all the friends and family
yeah,
there for the first time. So there's things that from a competitive standpoint or like from the journey have peaked, right? You'll never turn pro again for the first time. You'll
Yeah.
never share the stage with certain people again for the first time. Like there's so many things that they happen and then like you're never gonna replicate that, right? So you might never
Yeah.
feel that intense, almost euphoric, like, whoa. If there's moments in life that I can always look back on with extreme fondness, it is some of these moments, and like I'll never
Yeah.
replicate that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
Which for
it.
me is okay. Like
For
that's kind
sure.
of okay. But like let me ask you kind of in a different frame or in a different context. Like you're a family man. You've been married. You've
Yep.
had
I have
a
been married.
kid.
I am still married for the record.
Yeah. Well, but you got married. You
Oh,
like
yeah, okay,
you
I see what
went
you're saying.
through like the wedding, like got married. Like I'm sure that was a big day, right?
Sure. Yep.
The birth of Beckham, I'm sure that was like a big day.
Yep.
But it's like you still have things to build from that, right? Even if
Yeah.
you don't experience that high of the wedding day of your son being born, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm sure that's okay for you, right?
Yeah, yeah, you're never, yeah, like, yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. There's like peaks in your life, but that doesn't mean like you still won't have these nice blips, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like, whoa, whoa, versus like, oof. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you can find kind of peace in that, knowing that like, you know, coming back to bodybuilding, where it's like there's still these peaks that will happen in these moments in time, like whether it's meeting somebody or doing a certain show or you know competing somewhere that you've never competed before and you've like for years maybe like hey I want to go do that show sometime, like that'll be super cool. That maybe not a pro card high, but like still kind of like a nice little badge of honor throughout the journey.
Yeah. I mean I think you should seek out those opportunities where you can have those
Yeah,
quote unquote highs. But like I think for the most part it's striving to make the day to day a positive experience,
yeah, yeah,
if that makes sense.
it does. I think this was a good little chat, sir. Let's close it there.
I think it was.
All right, people. Well, if you enjoyed this episode of Natty News Therapy, I mean Natty News Daily, subscribe, like, do all the good stuff, and I don't know. We'll catch you guys in another formal episode sometime soon.